artist and poet, just recently got published thanks to Gracie's, or I wouldn't be reading at all.
Woo!
So happy anniversary, Gracie's. I was actually working on this one piece for 3 weeks, and then Wednesday my computer said it was horrible and it got deleted. So I just made this up this morning. Awesome. Okay, so let's see how this goes. There's always those certain times in our lives where it takes everything we have to keep our mouths shut and shove our not very nice thoughts all the way down to hide underneath our kidneys so we know they won't come back up again. I admit I feel this way 10 out of 10 times every time I hear an 11-year-old say that they are in love with their soulmate. In my ancient mind, I feel the more likely scenario is the girl in the relationship accidentally spilled her milk at lunchtime, and that boy must have handed her a napkin to help clean up. We can laugh and think about how silly those children must be for throwing around the terms love and soulmate like they would a soccer ball at recess, but truth be told, there's adults who think love is something just as silly. Some like to think that true love is cheating when your wife's not looking and deciding to lie when she finds out and asks about the lipstick on your collar just because you love her too much to hurt her. And sadly, some women exist that find love only in the material, only in gifts with bows from husbands they married for money and a check after they die. It'd sure be nice to say that we come to understand love after hitting a certain age, but truth be told, some of us never learn and never actually grow up at all. Love isn't something you know about until you put your time in and stayed long enough to understand. It's not something you can feel without being faced with the black and white of what it is and isn't. It's only common sense to say you'll never find the rainbow if you can't withstand the rain, and you'll never see the stars while holding a constant fear of the dark. In a world full of so many kinds of people, you can ask about love, sex, and relationships and get a different answer every time. But even if it's just once, ask the disabled what they think. Ask the ones who love the disabled what they think. Ask them about the kind of love that it takes to stand at the altar, looking into the eyes of someone who needs you in more ways than one, and truly meaning the part where you say, in sickness and in health. Ask them what it's like to care for someone whose hands you know would never allow them to write you a love letter, or how love is more beautiful when there's nothing left to sugarcoat it. Ask what it's like to walk into a relationship knowing it will be a challenge just for the promise of a reward they know they won't get right away. Let them tell you of what it takes to not be turned away by weakness, but instead be drawn to the strength in which their partner copes. I'm sure they'd let you know what it's like to be devoted to a heart you know is so frail, there's a chance of it going out as quickly as a flame during the next hug. Or how the nightmare of waking up to your partner unresponsive is in constant possibility of becoming a reality. These people know that for the amount of time and effort they put into this kind of relationship, they could easily find a job with hospice. They often know more than the doctors themselves do and have had more job experience than some nurses. And they certainly know their partner's disability check won't be putting food on the table tonight, yet alone have $5 left over to pay them for their help, as if they would accept the payment anyway. These people know the patience it takes to hold on to a person who needs a little more time to pick up the pieces. They know what it's like to tuck someone into bed not only out of kindness, but because they know their own muscles aren't strong enough to pull on the covers anyway. People like this have already learned love. They've accepted that their arms aren't just needed for preventing falls and picking their love up off the floor, but they've also become a kind of safe haven when medication cocktails make their partner's world start spinning again. They know the extent to which they are relied on. They know the relationship is bound by the heaviness of forever, but still they stay and accept that they would never want anything more or less. Ask the disabled themselves what they think. Ask how they would feel for someone who understood the difference between disabled and differently abled, or what it's like to know that someone thinks they're every bit as beautiful while trying to find balance with a cane, or laying in a hospital bed smiling as the day they were in a wedding dress. Let them tell you how their definition of soulmate is so different it defines a life partner who has not only saved their life on more than one occasion, but also currently sustains it. They understand that love isn't just becoming a part of each other, but having enough heart to care for the other as if it were their own body. They know what it can be like when your bad days only get worse and the good days are still a far cry from a blessing. They find beauty in the darkest of times and love in the smallest of actions, and it's easy to learn to be thankful when you need someone to brush your hair on the days when your hands tremble too badly. When the only way you can dream is to have your love talk you to sleep. These kinds of couples don't need fancy dinner or roses. They find the romance in warming up pain patches and living with the possibility of their date nights being replaced by doctor's appointments and emergency hospital visits. Of course, it's easy to say that it takes an exceptional kind of person in these situations, but that only sounds like an understatement when there's a person who exists that refuses to watch their partner struggle and walk with crutches because they would rather let the strength of their own arms pick them up and carry them instead. It may sound surprising that a person could be selfless enough to care for someone in so much need, that someone so sick could be so cherished. But I could never think of anything healthier than loving the disabled. Ask them what it's like. Ask him. Ask her. Ask me. If anybody liked that, I have a mailing list on the back table and I'm selling books tonight. Cash or credit. Oh, did I?